Brian.
There's a problem with that. Like I got an issue. Okay, here we go.
Oh, ha.
Not up for Harbor, by the way.
Hello and welcome. We're back. A little bonus Bri. This is a little freebie intro to this week's bonus Bri, available only to Patreon subscribers. Patreon.com/The Baller Lifestyle Podcast. You know, I saw that this was happening. I knew that this was coming, but what do we know about me? What do we know in general? One, sports, pretty gay. Knowing when sports are happening, super gay. Like knowing what teams are playing, very gay. All that stuff is too gay for me. But luckily, I have people in my community that can keep me posted on this stuff. And I saw this was happening, and I was pretty excited because it's fucking like a Greek tragedy played out in a 12-minute halftime somewhere in the country. I don't know where. I think he told me last year, but we're going to find out again. I am joined now by the great Zach Xavier, who you've heard several times on this show before, great friend of the show, and he is our official Pop-Tart Bowl correspondent. Zach, what is up? How are you, buddy?
I'm well, Brian. Thank you for having me. It's a magical time of year. What is straighter, actually, than Pop-Tarts?
Yes, that's true. There is no more hetero food item because it's a breakfast cake that you're too lazy to toast. You know, like gay men, they put together an actual breakfast. A Pop-Tart is the ultimate hetero food stuff.
It's the anti-smoothie.
So the Pop-Tart Bowl happened again this year. And now I know you were into the Pop-Tart Bowl last year because as an alumnus of the University of Miami, the U, they played in the Pop-Tart Bowl, and I saw that it was this year, and I'm like, oh, the U, you had alluded that were they not to make the playoff, that the University of Miami would in fact be back in the Pop-Tart Bowl, and so I was worried I wasn't going to get an update because the University of Miami did in fact make the college football playoff. The Pop-Tart Bowl, I'm going to guess. I know it was contested between two teams, one of which is BYU.
Yes.
The Soakers.
Yes. The other was supposed to be Notre Dame, but they said no.
Oh, yeah. They bitched out. Maybe the greatest, you couldn't be part of a cooler thing. Like, they're going to lose anyway. So what's the point of putting them in the playoff? If you're not going to play in the playoff, let's either go to Hawaii and do one of the bowls in Hawaii, or we do the Pop-Tart Bowl with the fucking Pop-Tart play in the middle of the game. Yes, exactly. Okay, who did they play? I feel like it's a Texas team.
Close-ish. Georgia Tech.
Oh, very close. Georgia Tech still has football.
Yeah, they do.
Wow.
They are a football team. I think
now,
that's the biggest compliment I can give.
Where in the country is this when this game contested? I'm gonna take another guess.
Yeah.
It feels like Florida. So Orlando, Florida.
I believe you're right. I am confirming. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Orlando, Florida.
Of course.
Camping
Orlando, Florida. Yes. Okay, so what happened this year? Give us an update. You are the official Pop-Tart Bowl. First of all, I know I'm saying the name of the game wrong, so maybe you could update us on put some respect on it. What is the game actually called, and what happened this year in the Pop-Tart Bowl, which has a better name than that?
It does not. It is the Pop-Tarts Bowl, so you are wrong, but it's not better.
Fair.
It was a hell of a game this year. BYU had to come back, but that is all besides the point. I don't think anyone cares about a BYU Georgia Tech football game.
No.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl this year did start in kind of a wrestling fashion, referring to itself as the People's National Championship.
Oh, this is like the bad motherfucker belt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Doesn't really count, but people pretend that it's all of a sudden it's like, oh, we just made up. It's like the Intercontinental Championship. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, we already have the heavyweight championship, and all of the wrestlers are technically heavyweights. So what's this And also, we only do the matches in Florida and Omaha. Like, what do you mean intercontinental? It doesn't make any sense. But then you're like, oh, I want to be the honky tonk man wants to be the intercontinental champion.
Absolutely. And one thing the real national championship doesn't have, at least up until this year, I believe, is a death toll. And this is the third Pop-Tart Bowl. And in each of the previous 2 years, one of the biggest moments is at the end of the game, one of the Pop-Tart mascots stands atop a 15, 20-foot toaster with a sign that says, "Dreams really do come true," is slowly lowered into the toaster and happily cooked, and the winning team eats the Pop-Tart right on the field. As part of this year's ceremony,
this is real.
They had a Ring of Honor honoring the two previously deceased Pop-Tarts. Some of the Pop-Tart mascots stood solemnly with jackets honoring those who had fallen before. They kind of threw the jackets and knocked over the memorials.
They had Pop-Tart. The Pop-Tarts were wearing Pop-Tart specially constructed Pop-Tart shaped jackets. They don't have arms. Oh, they do.
Yeah. Well, they make do. And actually, Pop-Tart arms. This is a good segue.
Okay.
This year, to start the game, there were 6 Pop-Tart mascots, split between 2 different teams. And one of those, so first of all, there was Team Swirls, right, which is chocolate chip cookie dough, a horrible sounding Pop-Tart, frosted wild berry, and frosted hot fudge sundae.
So that's what it feels kind of racist. Like, yes, it's like the Sneetches on the beaches. You know, the swirls can only hang with the swirls.
Exactly. All horrible ways to start a day, too. You know, if you're waking up and reaching for a hot fudge sundae Pop-Tart, I can't.
Yeah. We wonder why the kids are falling asleep in class and having diabetes.
But Team Sprinkles did have frosted cherry cookies and cream, but where Pop-Tart arms come into play is they had protein slammin' strawberry, which, near as I can figure, is a protein-heavy Pop-Tart for somebody who is very mildly committed to getting in shape. This Pop-Tart had really buff arms.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to look this up now.
So anyway, great game. BYU had a comeback. Coach
25-21.
Yeah, I think they were down, 21-7 at one point. Came
15,
back
15 unanswered in the fourth quarter. But like you were 11 Michelob Ultras in by that point. Like you were, you shot your wad at
11
halftime.
Calories in.
I did, yes.
BYU's coach was hammering Pop-Tarts. It's the only trophy that has a toaster in it if you win the game. So it comes down to the end, as I told you. There's a big 15, 20-foot toaster at midfield, and this year they were going to cook 3 Pop-Tarts at once.
Well, a toaster doesn't even do that. What is? They got some fucking AI toaster? A toaster could toast 2 things.
A 15-foot toaster might do it, though. You
There's
might get 4 slots.
There's 3 slots? Is there 4? Do we go with an empty slot? I've seen a 4 slot toaster. Okay, so what? We're only going to toast 3?
This is more of a cremation oven than a true toaster, I think, at this point. There's 1 slot they're lowered into.
They're all 3 go in the same slot? I'm not into that at all.
One.
Yeah.
But I think this is a slight against Notre Dame because protein slammin' strawberry, the buff Pop-Tart, as it were,
I see it,
was one of the 3 to be cooked. And you could tell something nefarious was happening because his sign did not say "dreams do come true." It said "not my dream." And this Pop-Tart jumped off this large toaster and ran away.
What?
Yes. I think this is a slight against Notre Dame, who did not want to participate in this game.
It's a metaphor.
Yeah.
This is fucking high art. Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be?
The strongest Pop-Tart didn't want to play ball. So screw the
That
Irish.
makes sense.
as part of the game, you get sprinkles and the logos on the helmets. I would have loved to see the gold Notre Dame helmets just covered in sprinkles.
It would be cool if they did they did as homage to Marcus Freeman. They sharpied a line across the buff Pop-Tart's forehead, where it was just like one stripe of a different flavor. And everybody could go like, "What the fuck is that? Why is he doing that? That's weird."
Yeah, that's more of a team swirl thing to your racial point.
That's a really good point. Fair.
But the other two were cooked and devoured by the winning team, as is the want of a capitalist society.
Oh yeah. So wait, not the winning Pop-Tart team ate the cooked Pop-Tarts, because that's disgusting.
So going back to last year, one of the bits of lore here is the Pop-Tarts want to be eaten. A reporter had tweeted, he asked if it was offensive to eat Pop-Tarts in front of one of these mascots.
Yeah.
And he said, it's all they want. And then the mascot began to shove a Pop-Tart into his mouth while, quote, grunting softly. So these Pop-Tarts seek death. They seek to be eaten.
That's
only
upsetting.
At that time do they find joy. So, as the three were lowered in, they were happy. They were dancing. They emerged from the bottom of the toaster, ready to be ripped alive.
Oh, because they came out toasted. So yes, they want to be toasted because that is their. Well, it's kind of like the Aztecs. The slaves want to be thrown in the volcano because it's like their duty to their tribe. Like that's the highest calling you can have. Is that sort of martyrdom. Same in the Pop-Tart community.
Pop-Tart. It's but as ever, this I look at this year as kind of the Avengers Infinity War of the Pop-Tart Bowl. It felt like it was setting up more lore. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh no, I thought it ended. Didn't spoiler alert.
Endgame was the payoff to Infinity War.
That was before or after?
Watch these movies, actually.
You seem to know about them. Does Iron Man dies, right? And what about Hulk? Does Hulk die? Hulk definitely dies because, spoiler alert, he's supports the Palestinian cause, so his career is definitely dead. That's for sure. Look for Edward Norton to be revived as the new Hulk, because the original Hulk, if he ain't dead, he's about to be. His career is dead.
Benjamin Netanyahu gets his own Hulk in the upcoming movies.
Okay. So, well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for the update. One more thing while I have you here, because you are one of the world's foremost experts on, of course, JonBenet Ramsey and her untimely demise in 1998.
We're not done looking for that killer.
They've uncovered new evidence.
Have they?
Yes.
Breaking to me.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't know this. They've uncovered new evidence in the I don't know what it is. I was hoping you could update us. Maybe you could look into this and you could come back with the new theory on the JonBenet Ramsey killing. And then also you could, at some point, I wanted to do this on, days sneak up on me, but I was hoping that for Halloween, you would explain the song, the Monster Mash, to our audience. Give us your thoughts on the Monster Mash while you're here.
My feelings on the Monster Mash are complicated because in reality,
it's a bot.
The Monster Mash song doesn't actually exist, because Monster Mash, as we know it, is a song about people dancing to this song called the Monster Mash, which must have existed previously. So I'd like to hear that Monster Mash that the Monster Mash we know is about.
Well, there's a name for that, right? It's the copy of the thing that doesn't exist, like the 50s diner or the Irish pub. They're all and the Monster Mash, it's a copy of a thing that there's no original of. So the Monster Mash, they're singing about the song, the Monster Mash, a song that we've never heard. They're doing the mash. Wait, it's a dance and a song.
Right, because they were doing the mash.
To the Monster Mash.
Right, presumably. But it's a lost text. Is it Leo Carpazzi who maybe if he's still alive could answer that for us?
Fair. All right, man. I appreciate you. I love you. I thank you so much for coming on and joining us and apprising us of what
Quickly
happened.
Before I go, just because
okay.
it's great to read, John Bonet's father calls the new evidence encouraging.
Yes.
So I'll dive deep.
Well, they're trying to get Burke off. Like, look, we all know it was Burke. It was Burke with the fucking mag light that was right there on the counter. There's tons of pictures of the mag light right there on the counter. And she has a mag light shaped indentation in the top of her fucking head. And we're supposed to believe some dude broke in the house, laid in wait, didn't bring a pen or paper, despite the fact that he was there to do that. He had thoughts that he wanted to write down a note, used their pen and paper.
True artists never explain their art.
That's true. That's a good point. There's always going to be questions. Okay, Zach Xavier, you're a friend of the show. We appreciate you very much. Thank you for joining us. We will see you soon.
Bye.
Thanks, brother. Okay, that was our buddy Zach. That is that's just a little pop, so I could get paid for some commercials, and so that there could be something that shows up this week for all of our regular listeners. I will continue with a bonus Bri, a lot of topics this week. Oh, last week I meant to discuss the mountain climber that feels really bad for leaving his girlfriend on the mountain to die while he extricated himself only. And so we're going to discuss that now on Bonus Bri, patreon.com/The Baller Lifestyle Podcast. Please join us there. We are there. Should I play a song here? I'll play the song. No. How about this other song? We'll introduce the not sports to get us there, to get us back to what we normally do. Here we go. Okay, Patreon.
Well, it's time for now sports, segment, the Baller Lifestyle Podcast. Not sports. I'm talking about the segment now. Not sports, segment.
I'm just looking at the picture of the Pop-Tarts from the Pop-Tart Bowl, and there's one that looks like maybe like a brown sugar or like a maple, because he's brown. Just describing him. But he has white frosting with sprinkles. And then there's a purple one with a blue drizzle on his face. And they have faces. And then there's another one that's like inside the bag still. He looks like the unknown comic. Was that his name? That's one from a guy from the 70s. Oh no, he wore a bag over his head. But he's like still in the bag, but his legs and arms are sticking out. And there is that one protein Pop-Tart who does have jacked arms. He's jacked as fuck. Like, that's the Pop-Tart you want to be, is this guy. He's got, oh no, I just clicked the link and Pop-Tarts pastry bales on celebration and 4 other wild. Oh yeah, see, Zach was right. Pop-Tarts pastry bales on celebration and 4 other wild moments from the bowl game. Well, we just got our own update on that. So remember last week we discussed, and I'll call it up right now, I wanted to get into the guy that murdered his girlfriend on that mountain. But he feels really bad about it, in which case it's like, okay, hey, no harm, no foul. I don't know if you guys heard, but he feels bad about it. Okay. Like, yes, she's dead and her family had to bury her and she got left on a mountain by the guy that drug her ass up the mountain. But don't worry, he's fine. And also don't worry, he feels bad about it. Let's read it. A mountain climber who left his girlfriend to freeze to death. Take that in. Atop Austria's highest peak has said the tragedy left him, quote, hurting so much in a series of online posts. Oh, that's what you do. And that's also, you can always tell the person that's the most sad by how many tweets they make about it. You can't possibly be the most sad unless you're tweeting. Tweeting equals sadness, and also Instagram posts and talks. You do TikToks, you do Instagrams, you do tweets to let people know that you're very sad. Thomas Plamberger, 36, attempted to scale the peak of Grosslochner with his girlfriend, 30-year-old Kirsten Gertner. back in January. I assume these are Germans. Oh my God, this looks hard as fuck. There's a picture of it. 12,460 feet. But Gertner, an inexperienced climber, became exhausted and unable to move approximately 150 feet from the mountain summit, prompting Plamberger to leave her alone to battle challenging winter conditions, including gale force winds of up to 45 miles per hour and temperatures of minus 17 degrees Fahrenheit for over 6 hours while he allegedly went to get help. Is this like the time that Teddy Kennedy drowned that lady? Mary Jane Kopechne. He was sauced from a party, and he drove on Martha's Vineyard, and he drove his Lincoln. Was it a Lincoln? I think it was. Into a lake, into a pond, and then he swam free because they're Kennedys. They're from the Cape or whatever, Martha's Vineyard, so they know how to swim well. They're sailors. So he swam right out of that car and then walked home, and then he left her in the car, of course. And then the next day, sometime like later in the day, he was like, "Oh, by the way, there's a dead girl in my car in that pond. I meant to tell you." That's similar to this guy, Thomas Plamberger. He should run for office. Gertner, who did not have proper climbing equipment, froze to death atop the mountain in his absence, prompting prosecutors to accuse Plamberger of manslaughter by gross negligence, claiming he failed to act as a responsible guide and instead left his girlfriend unprotected, exhausted, hypothermic, and disoriented in the extreme cold. You think? Oh my God, there's a picture of her. She's very cute. Look, I don't want to be this guy. And by I don't want to be this guy, I mean, I didn't want to be born this way, but it's important to me to be real with you. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's just sadder when good-looking people die. It is. It's just a little bit sadder. This is why they make the news. This is why when Joran van der Sloot, a.k.a. the Sloot, rock murders I think he hit her on the head with a rock. That's why I'm saying that. Natalie Holloway, and she goes missing. It becomes big news. Why? She's a cute blonde girl. I don't remember. She might not be that cute. Look, she was in high school. I was an adult, so I wasn't thinking of her in those terms. But I'm saying, as an example, that's why those stories tend to make more news, because conventionally attractive people, it's a little bit sadder when they die. This chick looks very cute, and now I'm super bummed out. I wish I wasn't talking about this. Plamberger, who denies the charges, has called the incident a tragic, fateful accident and insists he only left his girlfriend atop the summit to get help. In the days, when did he show up to get the help? In the days following her death, he wrote, "I miss you so much. It hurts so incredibly much. Forever in my heart. Without you, time is meaningless," on social media, and co-signed the obituary her parents wrote. An 11-month investigation into the incident, which saw prosecutors examine the couple's mobile phones, sports watches, and photographs, accused Plamberger of making a series of critical errors that led to his partner's death. Yeah, forcing her to climb a fucking mountain. First error. Hey, how about you go fucking climb your stupid ass mountain by yourself, Thomas Plamberger? Why'd you need a date for mountain climbing? She didn't have the training. She didn't have the equipment. You're supposed to be the guide. You take her up Austria's highest peak. Maybe start on Austria's lowest peak, either. The couple began their ascent of the mountain at around 6 p.m. A night climb when it's the coldest. On January 18th, setting off 2 hours later than advisable. Chilling webcam footage from the nearby Adlersruhe. Adlersruhe. Do we have any German speakers? Do we have any German mountaineers? in the audience that could shed some light on scaling Austria's highest peak at 6 p.m. in the dark hours? That's snug as a bug in a rug time. Betty bye. 6 p.m.? That's wind down. That's not start up. 6 a.m. is start up. 6 p.m. is night. This feels like more than manslaughter. I'll be honest. Did he take out any? Do they have insurance in Austria? Do they have life insurance? They're pretty fatalist over there. They might not. Chilling webcam footage from the nearby Adlersruhe refuge shows the two climbers' headlamps as I could see it. There's a picture of them. Oh my God. As they continue their climb, but 6 hours later, the lights begin to dim as Gertner's strength gives out. An image captured at 2:30 a.m. shows Plamberger's light starting to move on its own as he attempts to push on to the other side of the mountain and begin his descent. At this point, he is believed to have called for assistance, but became unreachable after putting his phone on silent and failed to give a distress signal when a police helicopter flew overhead. Come on. This is fucking, you don't need to be Quincy to figure this one out. This is fucking murder. This man did a murder. Strong winds prevented a helicopter from reaching the summit until 10 a.m. the next day, at which point Gertner had already frozen to death. Further examination of the scene revealed that the victim was poorly equipped for the climb, with Gertner wearing soft snowboard boots instead of mountaineering footwear, and Plemberger failing to secure a windproof location or to provide her with rescue blankets before leaving her atop the summit. This is so sad. I can't believe it. I didn't know it was this sad. I mean, I kind of did. Look, as a man, there's just certain things you do. So I was in a parking lot a couple days ago. And I pulled in, I back in because it's easier to get out. I know it's like a dad move to back your car in, but it's like busy parking lot. If you back in, then when it's time to leave, you can just pull forward and you don't have to like slowly back out and hope people see you and stuff. And there was a woman next to me and she was parked in the spot next to me. So I back in and then she gets into her car. And then I was waiting. I was waiting for my special friend to come out of she ran in the store real quick. Oh, we were on our way to go to the Charger game. We went to the Charger game with Jay Stu. Jay Stu hooked me up. Jay Stu, great guy. Hooked me up with tickets to the Charger game, hung out with the great Jay Stu. Watched the Chargers lose. They kind of got fucked. I mean, they played like shit, but they had a chance to win, and the refs fucked them when they sacked CJ Stroud on 3rd and 9. They called a bullshit penalty in the secondary, illegal contact. Illegal contact with DraftKings, probably, for that referee. Look into that, huh? The fix was in. Anyway. Oh, she runs into the store, and I'm just sitting in my car, and then this lady gets in to her car, and I noticed that she goes to pull forward. So she's pulled in, nose in, like as normal. I'm backed in, so we're opposite. And she goes to roll forward, like to pull through the spot in front of her to take off, because there was a whole bunch of traffic like in our row. So she's like, oh, there's no one parked in front of me. I'm just going to slip out here. And then I notice she stops and her car doesn't move. So I go, oh, that's kind of weird. And I kind of look over and I'm like, so she's kind of half in, half out, and she's not moving. And then she starts honking. And I look back and there's another car going to back in, and the fucking guy does not see her. And she's just honking away, and he just keeps backing up. And finally he gets about fucking 1 inch from her bumper and stops. And then I see him kind of like motion, like pissed off. And look, this isn't like the most important detail, but it is a detail. He's a big fat fuck in a Kia. Okay. And he's got the window down. So I I don't know, instinctively, I get out of my car. I open the door and I get out just to see what's happening. And I hear him going, I was backing in. You need to move. Look, I was backing in. You need to move. And all he had to do was fucking put his car back in gear and roll forward 2 feet. And then she could have pulled out and he could have continued to back in. But she's like, just move, just move. And he's like, no, you need to move. Move the fuck. Oh, no, he goes, back the fuck out. And so I just stood up and then I kind of like walked. I didn't really know what to do. I mean, this guy was a big fat fuck. And I definitely didn't like want to fight some rando, but also this was a woman that was getting yelled at by some fucking asshole bully. So I just got out of the car and I just kind of stood next to her car and I just like let him know that I was there and I was paying attention. And I just stood there and looked at him. And he fucking clocked me and he kind of looked away and he was just like, fuck, you know, doing this, like move. And then somebody pulled in behind her. So she couldn't back out. She was fucking wedged between, you know, like somebody was trying to park behind her and she's just trying to pull out and he could have easily let her get out. And so I'm just kind of standing there and he's like, you need to back out. And she's like, I can't. And she's like, I'm calling the police. Like this is what this fat fuck had let the situation get to. And I just stood there. I just stood next to her car and looked at him. And eventually this piece of shit pulled forward and she was able to leave. And then I got back in my car. But the whole rest of the day, I was kind of like, I felt like I should have done more. Like I should have, like, this is just a fucking, you know, a woman. And she had a kid. I forgot that part. There was a woman and a kid in a car. And this guy, I think he might have had a kid in the car too. Well, what a piece of shit this guy was. And I should have let him know. You know, like I did. I put myself into the situation, but like just enough, you know, like I didn't like intervene, but I just stood up and just let the guy know that I was paying attention to the conversation that was happening and that this woman wasn't alone in the world, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if she even saw me because I was kind of behind her shoulder. You know, I was next to her car behind the driver's door. Just looking at him. I just looked at him. And eventually he moved his fat fucking ass and she drove away. And no offense to my fat friends. You know, all of us are a little bit fat and that's okay. And but it is telling when somebody's really fucking deeply unhappy with themselves and they're fucking involuntarily celibate and they got to fucking, they want to take it out on some poor woman who maybe, you know, was kind of maybe not the right move to pull forward, but it was easy enough to fucking let her by, you fat fucking piece of shit. So the point is, like, I did the fucking least in that situation. And because I have anxiety, I ruminated for fucking like a day and a half on it. Like I should have done more. I should have spoken up. I should have said something. I should have acted instead of just, you know, like sort of acting. Now, if I'm on a fucking, first of all, I'm not dragging anybody up a fucking mountain. First person I'm not dragging up a mountain is my own ass. But assuming I did, you know, assuming I did take someone with me somewhere and things, you know, the weather turned bad or whatever, you know, but put me on this mountain. I ain't leaving no woman in the fucking snow on the side of a mountain. You know, like we're either going to ride it out together or I'm going to fucking piggyback you and we'll go slow and we'll leave this fucking mountain together. Under no circumstances am I just going to fucking leave you there. Now there was that, remember that John Krakauer book? And they made a movie about it. I think they made both the documentary and a movie. It's called Into Thin Air, right? I could be wrong. And it was like these two dudes, they were like ice climbing in Patagonia, Argentina, maybe somewhere, South America. And they were belayed together. They were tied together. And now I can't remember the details because it was so long ago. It was a popular documentary and book. I I read the book and watched the documentary. And none of it I remember. Why? Because I have CTE and I can't remember things. Anyway, I remember. I'll give you the fucking thumbnail of it. They're on the mountain, and one of them, the one guy that's tethered to the other guy, I can't remember if he fucking broke his leg or something, but he became incapacitated and was just like a fucking weight tied to this other guy. And the guy couldn't just fucking hold him on the side of a fucking ice mountain with his ice axe and toe crampons for the fucking rest of eternity. So at some point, he cuts the rope and the guy goes and slides down a fucking hundreds of feet of crevasse and lands at the bottom. And it's a great story. It's kind of like that story about the, well, except it's not in war. It's kind of like that story of the, what's it called? Lone Survivor, except this story's true. This guy lands at the bottom of this crevasse with a broken leg. I think he maybe had 2 broken legs. He definitely had 1 broken leg. And he's looking up at the top of the crevasse and he's like, oh, I'm going to fucking die here. And for whatever reason, he knew, he's like, I'm not climbing out of this thing. He goes, what if I fucking just go deeper into it? He started climbing down the crevasse. And wouldn't you know it? He came out the other side and he crawled for like a couple of days across down a mountain. And then it was like all rocks. Crawled across rocks until he fucking got back to base camp and was able to live. I'm probably telling it wrong, but I'm close. But the point is that even the guy who's got, got the rope cut was like, no, he did the right thing. Like that, you have to do that. Like that is the rules of what you do. Sorry. I don't know if this is misogynist or what. They're both dudes. That's 2 guys. That's, yeah, you try to save your buddy, but sometimes you can't. Right? Not that long ago, I went to I don't want to say too much. I went somewhere with a friend, longtime friend, somebody that I care deeply for, someone that I've known, one of my oldest friends. And I went to a thing with this person, and this person was overserved and was acting in a way that was not fun to be around for anyone. And we were in a public place, and because this person was overserved, we were asked to leave that place. Now, I didn't have to leave. I was not served. I was 0 served. I wasn't overserved or underserved. I was not served at all. I was fine. I was there to do a thing. My friend had been overserved. And so we had to leave. And I told this person that, look, if you were a dude, I would just send you off into the nighttime of downtown Los Angeles and you could figure it out. But you are a female, and as a man with the privilege of maleness, I cannot just leave a woman alone, drunk, to fend for themselves. I have to leave with you and take you home. That is my contract with the world. That is what you do as a man. So you climb a fucking mountain. And look, I didn't tell this person to climb a mountain with me. She sort of invited herself, but it was okay. We had agreed to do this outing together. I didn't tell her to get fucked up. She did that on her own, but that's the deal. I couldn't stay at the thing by myself. Now, if she were a dude, I've left many dudes, many places I could give a fuck. You're on your own. You're a man. Figure it out. But a woman who's vulnerable to predators in the world, inebriated, or on the top of a fucking mountain, as you're not a man. This fucking guy, I'll tell you what this guy is at the I think he's kind of a murderer, Thomas Plamberger. At the very least, He's not a man. This is not the behavior of a fucking male. And his dad should be ashamed that he raised such a fucking pussy to leave a woman who looks pretty cute. Let's be honest. Not important. A detail on the side of a mountain. Plamberger's trial is scheduled to begin in February. If convicted, he faces up to 3 years in prison. Throw the fucking book out of it at him. I love the comments. He slash they. We could just go with he, I think. Were carrying rescue blankets. Oh, I guess there were two of them. He slash they were carrying rescue blankets. If they were, and he failed to leave her with them, then it is at least negligent homicide or worse. Totally agree. Negligent homicide minimum. If they go through his phone, I wouldn't be surprised to find it was premeditated. Ladies, don't trust any man that puts you in a life-threatening situation where you are totally dependent on him and his skills / goodwill. It's sad to say, guys. There's a lot of piece of shit men in the world. Climb a high-risk mountain at night ill-equipped. That's at least gross negligence, if not worse. The guy played Russian roulette with his girlfriend's life. Poor girl probably thought she was safe with him. That's the fucking saddest part. He is 100% at fault. I am like her, quote, outdoorsy. Lesbian. Yet need experience. Last year, I became completely lost off trail. It was terrifying, and luckily, after 1 hour, which felt like 4 to 5 hours, a nice couple came along and redirected me back to safety. No way should this guy walk! Exclamation point. Lock him up, says another guy. Yeah, I agree. Thomas Plamberger, you're a huge piece of shit. This poor, cute girl, 33 years old, Kirsten Gertner, R.I.P. Very sorry that this was your fate with this piece of shit. There was another... Oh, hold on. There's a couple things on my phone. I gotta go. But maybe I'll do another one of these. We should have a year in review coming up. Maybe. I'm not sure of the schedule of Ed Daily. It's either going to be next week or the week after. No big deal. We'll be reviewing the year 2025. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Remember Bonnie Blue? She needed the money. No, just kidding. Remember she got fucking kicked out of Indonesia for trying to do a bang bus on the island of Bali. And Indonesia does not fuck around. Try getting caught with a joint there. It's not good. They're serious about their laws. And it's weird because it's like an island place. People go there to party. So they're like, oh, there are no rules because they're in another country. Yeah, it turns out there are rules in other countries, and you can't do bang bus pornos in Indonesia. They're not into that. Well, this Bonnie Blue, she seems off her rocker. A controversial porn star is facing claims of disgracing Indonesia after she was arrested and fined $20 for flouting Bali's road rules. Road rules. Bali bang bus. Bonnie Blue, whose real name is Tia Billinger, which is a way better porno name, I would say, Tia Billinger, was seen in a since-deleted video outside of Indonesia's embassy in London, surrounded by masked men, just weeks after she was deported or banned from the country for a decade. Apparently, I've disrespected the Bali culture. I would say Balinese culture. But that's nothing compared to the disrespect these boys are about to show me, she said in a clip. She was then seen walking with the Indonesian flag tucked into the back of her jeans and mimicking a sex act as she stood outside the building while the men cheered her on. I'm just here to pay my £8.50, $20 Australian fine, she said. Social media quickly blew up with this video circulating on X, aka X, as Jason Stewart calls it. I think they mean Twitter. I'm not even Indonesian, and I got furious. One of the social media users commented on a version of the clip that was circulating. One said, just my thought. She can do whatever she wants, but using the Indonesian flag really crosses the line. That's deeply disrespectful. Another guy said, this act constitutes an insult to national dignity. What you did in Bali, we couldn't care less, TBH, but dragging our flag has crossed the line, and it is pretty fucked up. Look, somebody help this lady. Like, somebody's putting her up to this. It actually was like a pretty good way to go viral. But look, she's got those crazy eyes. Like something's going on with her, and we need to figure that out, or we don't. It's not going to end well. I know she makes a lot of money on OnlyFans, but whatever, like, lady, get your shit together, because this is upsetting. Anyway, we could talk more here later or whatever. I just wanted to pop in to get you guys caught up on the Pop-Tart Bowl, get you guys caught up on what's going on with the Thomas Planberger trial. Like, this is interesting to me. This is, like the Idaho, Brian Kohlberger. This is more interesting than Brian Kohlberger to me, because this guy's like equally sociopathic. Maybe not equally, but in the same ballpark sociopathic as Brian Kohlberger, and I wanted to talk about it anyway. He's got the zits. I love you guys. This is the last time we talk this year. Appreciate you. I love you. We will be doing a year in review with a special guest next week, maybe the week after. We'll see. For Brian Beckner, for special guest Zach Xavier from the Pop-Tart Bowl, this has been Bonus Bri. We appreciate you. Tell your friends.
Shit, what in the fucking world is this? Just zoom in on any of his Instagram pics, and it goes